What's the most badass thing your grandma ever did? I rushed to the nursing home after getting the call that my 82-year-old grandmother with dementia had assaulted a staff member and was facing criminal charges and eviction. I found her in the director's office with a swollen right hand, while the orderly, a young guy named Josh, held an ice pack to his split lip. The director, 2 nurses, and a security guard were all staring at my grandmother like she was a wild animal. "Mrs. Miller has become violent," the director said immediately. "We cannot tolerate assault on our staff. Josh is considering pressing charges and will need to find her alternative placement immediately." My grandmother looked smaller than ever in the oversized chair, her white hair messy and her hands trembling. She'd been here 2 years since, and her whole life she'd never hurt so much as a cockroach. "Grandma, what happened?" I asked, kneeling beside her chair. She grabbed my hand with her uninjured one and squeezed hard. "He's been stealing my pain pills, sweetheart." The director sighed like she'd heard this before. "Mrs. Miller has been making accusations for weeks. She claims medications are missing, typical paranoid delusions common with her condition. She punched me completely unprovoked," Josh said from behind his ice pack. "I was just giving her morning medications and she attacked me." My grandmother's grip tightened on my hand. "Those weren't my pills. He's been giving me sugar pills instead of my oxycodone." Everyone in the room exchanged those looks that meant they thought she was confused again. The director started explaining how dementia patients often become paranoid and aggressive, how they imagine conspiracies. I'd heard this speech before every time Grandma had told me the staff was mistreating her. Now I was starting to wonder if I should have listened. "Josh has worked here 5 years without incident," the director continued. "He's one of our best. Your grandmother has been increasingly difficult lately, refusing medications, making accusations. Show them the pills," my grandmother said to Josh. "Show them what you've been giving me." Josh shifted uncomfortably. "I already disposed of today's medications after she attacked me, but they were her standard prescriptions, her pain management and anxiety." "Liar," my grandmother said. "You've been doing it for weeks. That's why I've been in so much pain." The director was already pulling up my grandmother's chart on her computer. "Mrs. Miller has been complaining of increased pain, but we assumed it was disease progression. When did the pain get worse?" I asked, my stomach starting to turn. "About 6 weeks ago," the director said slowly. "That's when he started as my nurse," my grandmother said. "My pain pills, my Xanax, even my Ambien. He takes the real ones and gives me fakes." The nurses exchanged glances now that looked less skeptical. "Why would I replace her medications?" Josh asked, but his voice had changed slightly. My grandmother looked him. "You sell them. I wasn't born yesterday." "These are serious accusations," the director said, but she was looking at Josh differently now. "We should check the medication counts." "Check all you want," Josh said confidently. My grandmother turned to me, and for a moment her eyes were completely clear. "Yesterday I confronted him privately. I told him I knew what he was doing. He leaned over my bed and said no one would believe an old woman with dementia." The room went cold. Josh's face changed before returning to injured innocence. "She's putting words in my mouth," he said quickly. "I would never say that. But one of the